Hey everyone, I am Tommy Ekstrand, one of the software engineering managers here at Big Commerce. Today, I'm really excited to introduce you to our Director of Cybersecurity, Susan Phillips. Susan is going to give us a little bit of insight into her role here at Big Commerce. Welcome, Susan.
Hello, Tommy. Thanks very much for having me here.
Tell me a little bit about what type of person you feel like makes a good fit for the security team.
That's an easy one, Tommy. Literally anyone with interest. Anyone with an interest in security would do well in cybersecurity. And we have a living example right here in our cybersecurity team at Big Commerce. Several of the folks in our cybersecurity team came from this customer success team, and they are vibrant senior engineers today.
I love it. Tell me about your favorite part of the sprint, or I think we were talking earlier and you said your team doesn't actually use sprints. So, what does that look like, and what are the things that you really enjoy doing?
Yes, our team does not use sprints. Our work changes every single day, almost every single moment. We've got to expect the unexpected and put out fires here and there. It's not conducive to 2 week sprints. We still need to align with the development team sprint, so we are fully aware of when they begin, when they end.
I think that really makes sense given what I know and all the security engineers I've worked with on the various issues that come up. Tell me a little bit about what you think is the most challenging thing about your job specifically, and what do you feel like makes it so challenging?
Managing the security teams, which I'll describe in a moment, in a way that they mature over time and evolve to the point where the intelligence from one sub-team is consumed by the other sub-teams and enables all the teams to grow together. Cybersecurity is split up between application security, infrastructure or cloud security, and governance, risk, and compliance. With their different concentrations, they glean different intelligence from what they do.
That makes a lot of sense. I hadn't considered that. I guess part of that importance is the importance of letting those teams grow is communication. So can you talk a little bit about how you interact with those teams and maybe how they interact with each other?
Each of the three teams has developed their own cadence. Like the application security team has stand-ups. It's a global team, so time frames are different. They've evolved into 2 different stand-ups, one early, one late, to accommodate the time. The infrastructure team has a triage meeting every single day where they look at security alerts that are produced from the infrastructure or the corporate infrastructure or applications. And that meeting is joined by multiple groups to look at each security alert, investigate them if it needs to be investigated. And likewise, the governance, risk, and compliance team, we don't have a daily triage meeting, but we have a daily stand-up. And it's rare that anyone misses the daily stand-up. Other than those daily or semi-weekly meetings, Slack. We live on Slack.
Do any of these teams or any teams you're on have non-work meetings, maybe brown bag sessions or coffee chats?
So the application security team has capture the flag events, which challenge each other to find security vulnerabilities in specific application code that has been planted there, and they're challenged to find them. And they love that. They love doing those challenges. We get together for games, not very often, but occasionally. And there are security events that local teams go to. The infrastructure team has the largest group, though it's a small group, of folks in Austin. And those folks meet after work occasionally for dinner, drinks. The governance, risk, and compliance group, every single person on the team is geographically dispersed across the country. We have never met in person, but literally these daily stand-ups are what keep us bonded.
Tell me, what is the first thing that you do each day when you log on?
The security Slack channel is where we get incoming requests, concerns from customer success center. The merchants come to us through that channel. The whole company communicates to the security team through that channel. We make it our mission to respond quickly to that channel. The entire team looks at that channel first thing in the morning and throughout the day.
If that's the first thing you do every day, talk a little bit about the very last thing you do.
I check the calendar for the next day, just to be prepared for the next day.
Is there anything else during your day between that first and last thing that you just regularly do that you feel like is really important to share with the folks watching this?
We facilitate audits. We have so many audits happening now that literally every single day of the year has at least one audit happening. Generally speaking, a large chunk of the day has to do with audit prep, responding to auditors, getting evidence. The difficult thing with responding to auditors is it can't be planned, and it doesn't fit into a sprint. The auditor asks for evidence of something, and they want it right away. And if it's something that my team can get by themselves, great, we'll do that by ourselves. But if it's something where we need someone else's help, it's particularly difficult for us because we know most of the engineering team, for example, works on 2-week sprints, and we're asking them for something today. We try to be as flexible as we can under the circumstances, but that consumes a large part of our day.
So you've talked about some really interesting things and some really challenging things. Why do you like being on this team or in the security department?
I love challenges. I love trying to solve problems, work out things. I don't love so much routine things. I will tell you something about cybersecurity. It never gets routine. There's nothing routine about it. Every day, every hour, there's some new thing that you haven't encountered before that you need to solve.
You've talked a lot about different facets of the role, things you enjoy, things that are challenging. I wonder if you can kind of distill that down and just describe the role.
A software engineer spends their career trying to build things. An application security engineer spends a lot of their career trying to break things. They're trying to find the holes in the application that's built by the software engineer, trying to find any way they can break in or make the application misbehave. Now go from that to an infrastructure security engineer. They don't necessarily need software engineering skills, but they certainly need to understand networks, how networks work, and in our case, infrastructure as code. What they do is they scan. They use a tool to do security scanning of the infrastructure, and the scanning process will produce a large report of suspected vulnerabilities. They've got to drill into every one of those vulnerabilities to determine whether it's a false positive or it's something real. And then there's the governance, risk, and compliance folks, where the skills that they need are more analysis. More than analysis, it's the soft skills are really valuable because they might have to institute a brand new requirement across the company, like disabling removable media. Say a new requirement comes down in one of our frameworks, we need to remove the capability for all of us to use removable media. That's not an easy thing to do. You won't get many friends. You've got to think about how best to approach that. What if there are people that actually need to use removable media? Maybe there are employees that go to trade shows and they really need to use removable media, but we're taxed with removing it. No one cybersecurity professional knows it all.
What gets you, Susan Phillips, excited for work when you wake up in the morning?
There's nothing negative about the team I work on or the people we work with. Even though we have a difficult job to do sometimes, I find that big commerce as a whole, most people in the company are security savvy. We're not introducing concepts that people have never heard of before, that they're not aware of before. It's really easy to work in big commerce, and it makes the job enjoyable because we actually produce results. I have worked in very large security organizations elsewhere, and they tend to get stovepiped, territorial, various other kind of negative, difficult scenarios. We don't have any of that at Big Commerce.
That is something that I've found as well in talking to friends and acquaintances who work in technology. I'm very thankful for how security minded Big Commerce is as a whole and the level of importance that we place on it. It's pretty great here. Tell me what you think your biggest win so far at Big Commerce is.
When I arrived here 5 years ago, we had a very small team. Very small team. And to see that small team grow to what it is today, and some of them, as I mentioned, came from CSS, they have blossomed into really productive security professionals. To come from that big organization to this small one where you can actually see everyone progress and grow into their roles, and they love their roles, to have helped build that is the thing I feel most proud of.
I've also watched it grow during that time from maybe one or two people into what it is today, and it's fantastic. So congratulations on doing that. It's been great. Just want to thank you so much for giving everyone insight into your role and what the teams do and how everyone interacts. And thank you everyone else who's tuned in to watch this. If you have any questions for Susan or myself, you can always feel free to reach out to us on Slack.
Thanks.
We'll see y'all later.